And that's a wrap. So Apple has just announced a number of new devices, including the all-new iPad Pro, new Mac computers, the Mac Mini, as well as the MacBook Air replacement. And wow, what a wonderful day. So some very, very exciting technological advancements. Let's go ahead and jump right in. And I'm going to start with the Mac computers, but I just want to say the iPad Pro was everything we thought it was. All of the leaks were true. USB-C, that new all-screen design, it looks simply stunning, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. So let's go ahead and jump right in. What was made available and everything that's new at this keynote today. So Apple started off by talking about the legacy of the MacBook Air, that it changed everything as soon as it came out of that manila envelope, and gotta agree, it was a really magical moment. So Apple has decided to keep the MacBook Air name instead of renaming it to something else, and they've basically updated the existing MacBook Air to be completely new. They say they redesigned every single part inside and out, and from the old one, which had that inset display, that's no longer the case. The display is completely flush. It has way less bezels on the exterior now, but it's still very reminiscent of the old one. Of course, it is a Retina display, has a number of more pixels now. It does come in new finishes now. This gold color, space gray, looks great, matches the rest of the MacBook lineup. And as for the display itself, it's a 13.3-inch display, 4 times the pixels, 4 million pixels overall, and much thinner bezels, makes it look much sleeker than before. Of course, it does still have a FaceTime HD camera up top. Don't expect it to be the best quality, but still, at least it has one. It does have Touch ID now, so matching that of newer MacBooks. No touch bar, of course. It does have the T2 controller to handle that, as well as a 20% larger trackpad, so you'll be able to get even more functionality out of multi-touch gestures. The keyboard now is 3rd generation, so with even more stability than before. It has a louder sound by 25% and even bassier, so 2 times more bass than earlier versions. 2 USB-C ports, Thunderbolt 3, so you'll be able to do things like run a 5K external display, among other things. It also does have the latest processors from Intel, the i5 8th generation, up to 16 gigabytes of RAM and up to 1.5 terabytes of storage. So understandably, Apple is holding back just a little bit here, so there's a clear distinction between this and the MacBook Pro. All-day battery life remains, and the most amazing part is that this is all in a smaller enclosure. It's 17% less volume than the older generation and 10% thinner. It really does look great. It's a perfect hybrid between a MacBook and a MacBook Pro, and it starts at $1,199. So a pretty decent value, I guess, for what you have. Coolest thing I think about it is that it's now made out of 100% recycled aluminum, so that's better for the environment, no more mining, and you can order that today and get it on November 7th. So next up, they introduced a new Mac Mini. This is one of the oldest Apple products that they haven't updated in forever, aside from the Mac Pro, but they're getting to that. And they've now made it standard to have 4 cores, configurable up to 6 cores, and these are full desktop processors, so not mobile ones. It's 5 times faster than the old version, but I thought that was kind of an unfair comparison because that one hasn't been updated in over 1,000 years. You can configure it up to 64 gigabytes of memory, so I thought that was quite capable. Up to 2 terabytes of storage, and they built a new fan for it, so you can cool all of that performance in a reasonable manner, and you can stack these. That's actually pretty cool. So if you wanted more performance, you can have several and connect them to each other for server grade performance or for any workloads that you may need. And interestingly enough, you can configure it with an Ethernet port. It doesn't come standard, and it starts at $799. You can configure it quite well too. This will also be available on November 7th, available to order today, also built out of 100% recycled aluminum. And this is where it gets interesting. Apple has revealed the new iPad today, and it's everything we expected it to be. They prefaced this by saying that iPad is the most popular mobile computer in the world, so it outsells notebooks, and then they revealed the new iPad. It is inspired by the old generation iPhones. It's the exact same design that was leaked earlier. It looks spectacular. I wasn't able to discern any new colors. I think it'll still come in the existing ones, but wow, what a stunner. It's even thinner now. It does have a liquid Retina display with curved corners, reminiscent of the iPhone 10. In fact, they said it was inspired by the iPhone 10, and the 10R display technology is used inside of this. The actual profile of the 12.9-inch now is about as large as a sheet of paper, so they think that a lot of people will be buying the larger one just because of how much smaller it is. 25% less volume with the same display. It does come with Face ID now. It's been reconfigured, re-optimized to work in any orientation, so you can flip the iPad around 4 ways and it will continue to work. That's quite cool. I don't think that's coming to the iPhone anytime soon just because of how complicated it looked. It does come with the new Apple A12X Bionic, and that's a 7nm with 10 billion transistors. Actually kind of crazy. An 8-core CPU, 4 fast, 4 slow. A single core is 35% faster, and multi-core workloads are 90% faster in general. There's a 7-core GPU now with 2 times faster performance, and for some reference, they compared it to an Xbox One X. It's that power in such a slim form factor and 1,000 times faster than the original iPad. So that's a lot of improvements. They also built in a neural engine into that processor, and it now comes with USB-C. So you can get a bunch of new peripherals to work with the iPad, use an external display with the iPad, kind of crazy. Configurable up to 1 terabyte storage too. And Apple did include a new Apple Pencil. It looks spectacular. It's now a even flush design with just a flat plane on one side, and this is to attach it to the side of the iPad. So that mystery connector on the side of it turns out to be this magnetic attachment port where the Apple Pencil will instantly pair and begin to charge with the iPad, and they actually shook it as a demo and it didn't fall off, so the magnet itself is very strong. In fact, Apple has over 100 magnets inside of the case of the new iPad just to have a slew of accessories work perfectly and to hang on very efficiently and strongly on the iPad. A functionality they added with this Apple Pencil that I thought was really cool: double tap on the side to enable the eraser, double tap to go back to just a drawing. Also, with the screen off, if you tap on the screen with the Apple Pencil, it'll take you straight to the Notes app. And that's something efficiency-wise I really appreciate, because imagine you're in class or something, you whip this out real quick, you can get to writing notes ASAP. There's also a new Folio keyboard case, which has been redesigned for this new iPad. It now has 2 seating positions, one for your lap and one that you can reseat it to use on a desk for a more comfortable angle. Looks really nice. Will be sold separately, of course. The amount of progress that this iPad makes is absolutely insane in the power performance, mostly. I just wanted to reiterate that. This thing is being compared to an Xbox One X in terms of graphical power, and the things that you can do on it now, they're just crazy. Adobe actually demoed the real version of Photoshop running the real Photoshop engine running on this iPad, and I believe they had somewhere around 100 layers. This is a real PSD file and it's running in real time. So it was really crazy what this thing is capable of now with the new Apple A12X GPU and CPU. So that thing is going to be an absolute monster. We're also going to be seeing some crazy games. 2K Games demoed a new basketball game, and they were able to do something that they were never able to do before on an iPad, and that's get console quality graphics. And I know we've been hearing about that forever, but for the first time ever, they say that they can finally get something like really realistic people up close. They were able to replicate all of those features, and this is only possible because of the Apple A12X chip. And a couple other things. So Apple did demo that this thing, usability wise, will be just like an iPhone 10, and all iPads really are, but for the first time ever, this is all purely gesture based, and with the Apple Pencil, you'll be able to control the gestures and whatnot. So all around, wow, what an upgrade. The biggest upgrade to iPad ever, and 1,000 times faster GPU performance than the original iPad. That right there is quite the comparison. So yeah, the Apple Pencil 2, the new display, the new Folio case, this comes together to be quite a revolutionary upgrade for the iPad, and I really love the design. I kind of hope that iPhone goes in a very similar manner. It looks really nice. Now, Apple also did say that this will be the most capable augmented reality tablet ever, that nobody else can do anything related to what this thing can. Because of that large display, the very powerful CPU and GPU combination, you'll be able to get some very impressive augmented reality works. Now, you'll be able to order this thing today, and it will arrive on November 7th, and I just wanted to mention whether or not it's worth it. So it starts at $799. That is quite a hefty price tag, and that's only with 64 gigabytes of storage. Storage itself is very expensive, so you're gonna have to pick that up, and that'll go even further. LTE options are separate, so you'll have to pay even more for that. But considering how capable this thing is, how much you're getting for your money, I guess that's an appropriate ask. It's just Apple doesn't have so much competition in the tablet sector. I mean, they're really dominating here, so they can ask whatever prices they need. The old 10.5 inch has received a price reduction, and the iPad mini 4 is still available as well. Alright, so that wraps it up for the new products. Apple did also mention that iOS 12.1 will be available later today. Actually, Tim Cook called it iOS 12.1, so I think I need to start changing how I pronounce that. Alright guys, there it is. Those are Apple's new products they've released today. Stay tuned for the iOS 12.1 fully detailed review.